Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone, and welcome to Imam Sharif YouTube channel. And during my last visit to New York, I've been asked to say my opinion about some women taking their hijab off. And since the topic is very sensitive, I invite Mindy to be with me and to say her opinion about the hijab. And first of all, I want to make sure that we are not discussing the the shara of, is it sunnah or a fard. We are discussing about a fact, a challenge of families that some women taking their hijab off and why they're taking it. That's what we're discussing, inshallah. Mindy, what's your opinion, since you were with me in the last visit and people are telling me there is a lot of sisters took the hijab off. Now you are, wearing the hijab, and what's your opinion about the hijab, and what do you think the issue is? Why they're taking the hijab? Is this like a faith or challenge or?
Well, I mean, I can't say for individual women, and I think everybody has a different reason for taking it off. Like sometimes we see like famous people, like influencers, taking it off, and I feel like those women, when they're in the spotlight, they get harassed a lot, and to the point where it just like the people that harass them just drive them to it. Some people take it off because like they're scared, they don't want to be obviously identifiable as Muslim in public, and they're afraid, people will give them a hard time or something. Sometimes I think people just get tired of it, especially, maybe if you start wearing it really young, and then you want to kind of be like everybody else and be able to do your hair and things like that. For me, I want to rip it off every summertime because it gets hot and I get cranky when I'm hot. I don't take it off, but I want to. I want to rip it all off, when the weather gets hot. I can't stand it.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a challenge. So, it's not an easy thing. Sometimes, in certain circumstances, I feel kind of scared going out, when it's like September 11th and I go to Walmart, I'm scared. When I go to the airport, I'm scared. So, there are times when I would rather not be wearing it. So it's challenging. And I think, the people that, want to get like judgmental about it, a lot of times they're men, you don't know what it's like for women,
Yeah.
So I feel like men, you don't have an opinion on this, or
No.
keep your opinion to yourself,
Well, no, that's why they came and asked me, and obviously there is a lot of effect in the family, in the society, in the community, and as an imam and as a leader of a community, we need to always discuss things. What's the cause of it? Is it cause of it faith? Like you're not believing in it? This is an issue. If you are under pressure, or if you've been pressured to wear it, that's another issue. If you have a fear, that's another issue. If you are in a condition, like you said, hot and the temperatures and all stuff in the summer, this is another issue. Well, first of all, we have to figure out the issue first. Then we can address each one individual, how we can actually make their faith grow more to can face this challenge. Now the problem is when we find someone in a family member or neighbor take the hijab off, immediately we judge them by saying they are out of Islam, or if they are not in true faith, or they're going in the wrong direction and they are committing a big sin, which we don't do that to a lot of brothers that they, smoking or God forbid drinking alcohol, or wearing a short above the knees and stuff.
I see a lot of men wearing shorts above the knee.
Yeah, then
or really tight jeans.
Okay, that exactly
to the masjid.
Yeah, then there's I know that the sisters in a lot of communities, when the leadership or the imam is not educating the community how to address all the topic. First of all, the misunderstanding the Islam that men is totally superior than women and they are excused from certain things is totally wrong. It's like Islam goes both sides. for men and women. Second, how to face it is the most important thing. We are in the beginning of the video. We said we're not talking about fard or sunnah because I am 100% with the fard and you too.
Yeah.
I understand that. Alhamdulillah. Then we are discussing how we help the one that they fall or they felt under pressure that they have to leave it because they have to take it off because a job, and then we support them and we give them the right and we tell them that you have the right and this is America and we can let them through that with give them the education and the
And
knowledge.
sometimes, just the same way that families will, push a woman to or a girl to wear it, sometimes families push a woman to take it off.
That's another very big topic. And you know what? It's not a weird thing because I heard it that some parents tell them, "Don't wear it. You're too young. You will not get married because you're wearing the hijab early or something like that." And I feel sad for this misunderstanding.
And sometimes husbands tell their wives to take it off.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
I heard that too. Then then to answer the families, the more than one family that they tell me from the last trip, it's very hard to actually address the topic from one side because every issue of this hijab it have to be addressed. It's like why you took the hijab off. According to faith, then we have a big challenge of faith. Then we have to talk about Islam and we talk about the fard and we talk about the sunnah and talking about about your iman and your relationship with Allah. If it's because the society and the fear or the job or your husband, now, for example, this is if your husband tells you, I want you to take the hijab off, then we have a problem with your husband belief and your husband iman. Then we have to have counseling and we have to sit down with the husband and we have to tell him that, you're giving away a right that Allah gives you and you're giving it away and you want your wife to be like a model to show to the society that shame on you, and then we have to explain to him that.
Well, I think some men, they don't want to be identified as Muslim out in public either. And so walking out with a woman in a hijab, that identifies them.
That's
So then those men either they want their wives to wear their hijab and they just don't ever take her out anywhere, or they tell her to take it off.
Well, as you see, the topic is big and huge, but how can we actually support this individual, that not to run away from them, not to accuse them with anything until we know the whole entire story, and then we know the whole entire, the pressure that she's into. And after we see that, we can give her the support that she needed. And it could be a phase. It's like sometimes they go through a phase that they want to wear hijab like their mom, but then they go to school and then they get the challenge in school and they don't address it to the parents, and then they decided to take it off. Then the parents said she's not a faithful, she's not a believer, she's not a strong iman, but you don't know what happened to her in school. Then as parents, as a brother, as a sister, as an imam, you have to don't judge, don't judge the person first until you know the whole consequences of the whole entire story behind it.
Yeah.
This way you'll be able to help the person. Judging a person because he's taking the hijab is not fair. As a person without a beard, so it's like you're not a Muslim or something.
Yeah. Well, and if you really want to do something about this person that took their hijab off, then just pray for them. Like don't give them a hard time. Just pray for them. If you really actually care, and you're not just judging.
But I don't like the comment saying if she's a believer she have to cover her hair, which I understand that, but you don't know why she took the hijab off. You don't know what she's into and like what she's going through, and yes, you can wear the hijab, and I don't want to be a negative person saying wear hijab and then they doing all the wrong things. I cannot be also like this bunch of people saying, oh, the people who wear hijab is also the worst people and they're doing wrong things. We cannot do that, because the people who defending wearing the hijab, they say everybody else will not wear hijab, they are not Muslim, and the ones that they don't wear hijab, they are accusing all the people wearing hijab that they are not a religion, they are just covering their hair because the hairstyle is expensive these days, something like that.
Once you get used to wearing a hijab, though, it's like you don't want to do your hair
Yeah,
anymore.
you're saving a lot of money and you're not going to stylish and do your hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You have a bad hair, you have bad, what is it?
Bad hair day.
Bad hair day, cover your
The
hair.
problem is you can have a bad hijab day too.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
sometimes it just does not sit right.
Yeah. As a man, not as an imam, but as a man, you don't know what a woman goes through, emotion, mentally, physically, you cannot judge them because you don't know. I want you to cover and all stuff and dress more than one layer and walk in the street in the summer and stuff like that. It's very hard. Then we have to be gentle and soft, as the Prophet Muhammad advises. And أوصيكم بالنساء خيرا. Be gentle to your family members and your sister, your daughter, your wife, and support them 100%, and stand beside them until, inshallah, their faith they can confront and stand in front of any issues in life, and their decision made by themselves with the education and knowledge of Islam. Then when they put the hijab with the correct faith and understanding, they will never take the hijab off. I always say, if my daughter comes to me and say, I want to wear hijab, that's her decision. I support her 100%. I tell her, you have all the right to do that. That's your decision. I support you 100%. Then when she put it on, she's 100%, behind it. And whatever she she can face it she knows that her family behind her, and she put it not by pressure, not culture, because sometimes we put it as a culture, not as a religion. It's big difference. If you put it as a culture, the minute that you face something, you will fall. But if you put it as an iman, as belief that you're doing it to please Allah, and because Allah wants you to be protected in a society that He knows better than you how you be safe, then you will say, Allah knows the best, and I'm following Him blindly and trusting Allah, and the reward is huge, inshallah. I think, it's a very important topic, and we hope a lot of people can actually comment about it, and we can actually address it again in individual. If anybody have a challenge or story, he can share with us, inshallah. If you like the video, you can share and also subscribe, inshallah, if you're not subscribed already. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.